On the show today, we talked to Susan about her recent workshop and how she used dreams beforehand to help her focus on it. Our dream symbol today is being back at school. And as always, we interpret the dreams and answer the questions you sent in during the week. Welcome to So You Think You're Awake, the show about dreams, guidance and healing. I'm Michael Sheridan, and with me in studio is Heidi Brooke, our resident medium.
Hello.
And Susan Pullen, healer and life coach.
Hello.
Thanks to everyone who sent dreams to RadioShow at dream-analysis.com. Please continue to send them in, as we always need them for the show. You can always jump the queue and call us on 425-373-5527. That's 425-373-5527. And we will analyse your dream, connect with your guides for advice, or you can call with questions for Susan about healing and changing old patterns in your life. My 6-week online course started last Sunday, and I have to say I'm really enjoying it. I always do, but it is a lot of work at the same time. This one doesn't feel like that. I think it's because it's the last one I'm doing using this format, where it is me live talking to you through the computer.
So what will the next one be like?
It won't be me live talking through the computer. It will. There'll be that, but a lot of the course is lessons that are, kind of static in a way. And so what I've decided to do is take lots of the dreams that I've had over the years and do them in a lot of detail and just create lots and lots of videos that complement the lessons and record those and then have live sessions with those. So it's going to be quite different. So I'm in the middle of changing it, so I don't know exactly how it's going to be, but I'm looking for volunteers to come on board and try it out. And particularly if somebody's done the online course before or done other courses, that would be useful. So the idea is that you could go back and look up something. If you thought you had a dream about a particular health issue or a particular spiritual gift, you could just look up those segments. So it's going to be, the way the world has gone, Susan, bite-sized segments that are chewable.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Our attention span has gotten
I
shorter.
don't know. Is it our attention span, or is it because we can get things on demand that we want to do it at our own pace?
Yeah, I think it's both of those. And sometimes, you don't know that you want the information until it becomes personally relevant, and then it means something to you.
But then the advantage too is you can give a lot more detail, because sometimes, like if you're doing a class and you cover everything in the first lessons, it's a bit of overload. But if you can review it, then it can be interesting to watch something again and again.
Yeah.
And get more out of it. Anyway.
Yeah.
So that's how it's changing. Susan, we're going to talk to you after the break about how you use dreams to provide focus on your recent workshop.
Yes.
I think it's always interesting to see a real life example of how practical dreams can be.
Yeah, and this was super, super practical. So.
we will be the judge. And Heidi, we didn't expect you in the studio last week, but you're back at work now and taking clients again. So it's all over now.
I have my first client again after a 2-week break tomorrow. So, and that's funny because it's exactly what I asked for, was 2 weeks, and I got a phone call yesterday for a reading tomorrow.
And you didn't think of asking for 3 or 4?
No,
or a lotto ticket.
I did ask for that as well. Then I have to go to the store and buy one. That's the part I always forget to do.
I expect you to do everything. Well, excellent. Well, right now we're going to have a look at your dreams. So, your dreams and questions. And straight away we're starting off with a question to Heidi. So I'll read it out. It says, I hope you're well and congratulations on the birth of your child. I work as a healer doing body work and intuitive readings, astrology and tarot. I've sent in several dreams which have been analysed on the show. Okay, cool. I continue to grow as a healer and keep listening for how to grow my intuitive skills, and my dreams allude to me being a channel. I'm conflicted about being a channel. Your discussion about channeling last week helped. Thank you. I recently attended a class with a healer who was respected among other healers. He was very adamant about not letting anything into your body that is not you, since most of us cannot discern good from bad entities. He also said that channels have shorter lives due to the channeling, and I'm going to interject there and say that's rubbish. I think of a channel as someone who allows their body to be used as a vessel, and they step out of the body during that time or into a waiting room. When you speak of channeling, it sounds like you're still aware and in your body. Can you shed some light on this topic, and how can you discern and then protect yourself? I'm guessing that I'm not the only one with questions around channeling, and I'm sure you're not. And that's why it's always great to get questions. If you have a question, I guarantee you there are lots of other people who have the exact same questions, but they may not be able to formulate it or word it the way you have. So it's great to get them.
So how do I answer this? First off, I am aware when I'm channeling. I'm wholly aware. So I know if you have been listening to the show, which you've sent in dreams, so I'm certain you have, that there's a difference between what I'll call regular channeling and trance channeling, which is something I've been working on. But even in trance channeling, there's nobody entering my body. There is a manipulation of the vocal cords, which is completely different than I would never move out of my body to allow another entity into my body. That's not how I channel. Now, I am aware that people can do that, and they have done that in the past, especially centuries and centuries ago. But the vibration of the earth is so high now that we don't need to completely move out of our bodies. We can channel just almost because we're closer to the plane that the guides are at now, and the vibrations are so close that we can connect with little difficulty. So it is not necessary to move out of your body, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend it either. Yeah. And I've never done that myself.
I would say, though, trance channeling, you are slightly doing that. You're stepping aside.
But you're still connected to. You're never leaving your body, and that's what I wanted to stress.
Yes.
That, and I'm still very aware when I'm trance channeling.
But you were channeling. It's fair to say you were channeling for years before you even attempted trance channeling, and it wasn't like you read a book and said, "Hey, I'm going to try trance channeling." It sort of transitioned into that for you automatically. But you already had a great rapport with your guides, so you trusted that what they were doing was okay for you, and that's an important point.
And there was times where I was told, 4 or 5 years ago, you're meant to trance channel, and I'd try and do it, and they'd be like, not yet, not yet. So there is the rapport you have with your guides, and you, like you said, you have to have that trust as well, and it's not something that you want to just jump into, and it is important to ground yourself, as I always say, and to trust your connection. And also, the other thing as well is if you're channeling for other people doing readings like I do, you're not going to necessarily trance channel somebody else's guide, because that's not what you've practiced. You've practiced with your guides, and there's no reason your guides can't communicate with their guides and trance channel that for you.
Yes, exactly.
So, just building the relationship, and, going back to the channels live shorter lives, that is not true. Actually, to a certain extent, channels live longer lives if they're doing it accurately and correctly, because the vibration is so renewing. And the energy of the body is always like, how do I word this? It's a healing state for a channel.
Plus,
if you're doing it properly.
You're always told health issues from your guides, what to look out for and what to watch and so on. So that's obviously beneficial. But what is definitely true is if you are a channel, if you came here as a channel or a healer and you decide not to use those gifts, then you will get ill from not using them.
Yeah.
So you can get ill if you're not a channel or you're not a healer and you learn how to use it and then go into that field. I've seen a lot of people get ill when they channel healing energy.
People close to us too.
Yes, yeah. And I know people who've died even from not stopping. And people can get addicted to it, and they say, it's only a positive thing. No harm can come. So it is good to ask a question like this and be aware that there is a right way to do things and there's a wrong way to do things. But if you're not a healer, you definitely shouldn't be healing anybody, because you're giving away your own life force. But if you're a channel, I know channels. Some of these people as well, who medicated themselves so that they couldn't hear their guides.
Yes.
And they've passed on now. And it was just purely from the fact of the disharmony it creates in your body, not getting in touch. Well, first of all, you have a life purpose. You're here to do particular things. And your guides are going to say, okay, life is about growing spiritually. And if ultimately you're going to get no more spiritual value out of life and nobody else is going to get spiritual value from you being around, then there's no point you being here. So the dying early is like an exit point. We have lots of exit points we set up in our lives when we start off, and we say, okay, this is my plan. If I deviate wildly, I don't want to regress. I don't want to go backwards in terms of awareness that I have already gained.
Yes.
So it's a good thing to move away if you go that far off path. Of course, from our perspective, we see it as horrendous, which is kind of funny. But then a lot of the time, we only have this perspective. But the channeling, I wouldn't agree that you die early if you channel. Absolutely not.
You can exhaust yourself, but you can do that in any profession.
Edgar Casey is a very well-known channel who did die early, but he worked himself to death. He never took breaks. So it's the same with anything. You can work yourself to death in any field. So you're going to find people that you can point to that overdid it. but it's not what they overdid. It's just the fact that they overdid things. So, any comments on that, Susan? How do you feel when you heal, for instance? Do you feel invigorated after doing healing, or do you feel like you've drained yourself in some way?
I definitely feel invigorated. And I also, I mean, I can, what you said about if you're meant to be healing and you don't, you know, my, I guess I can't use that word on the radio, but my health was not very good for many years. I think before I started really getting into this work, and kind of owning that this is a part of who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show that our bodies are hardwired for a life purpose. And so if you're fulfilling your life purpose, it's like a rejuvenation process. We're all linked to our life purpose in a physical way too.
Yeah.
I always find funny because when I tuned into you once, you said a dream about a bird being caught in a power line, and the image I could see was around your sacral chakra, like there's a vortex there and power lines going down into the ground, and I'm going, oh, there's a problem that needs to be fixed. And it turned out that that's a hardwiring that's meant to be there for you because of the way you heal. So it's just funny. Why did I say that? I don't know.
It's relevant.
I know, you just cracked that a couple weeks ago too.
It's still funny though. Never did fix it, thankfully. All right, so let's have a look at a dream. This dream comes from Krista. And she says, I just read your second book, devoured it really and enjoyed it very much. Thank you very much. And she goes on about the book. Where's the dream? So the dream is a very large sea and then a pool. It is non-threatening, but there are things in it like people and creatures all swimming together. Okay, so when you see in a dream somebody says, oh, this isn't threatening at all, it would be like going home to your partner and saying, guess what? I'm not having an affair. Guess what they're going to be thinking? So when you see this in a dream, it is threatening. So something in the dreamer's life is threatening. I believe my husband is with me and already in the water. Either I dive in or he does. So we picked this dream because we were looking for some relationship dreams. And then we thought, no, everybody's going to be doing Valentine's and relationships. So we'll just do the one. And this is a positive one. So in this dream, the husband is positive and the dream is saying, like, be like him. He'd do it and then he'd take stock. So there's something that's going on where you feel something's a bit threatening and you're holding back. So the dream is saying, no, look, just dive in, do it, and then think about it afterwards. You don't always get that advice, but it's like a leap of faith. The sea pool is non-threatening, so she says it again. I do swim. I can't remember how far or what it was like, but I was not upset or worried. See the emphasis here. She keeps trying to convince us she isn't worried. It was deep and you could see everything in it, like a big, big tank. Aware of what was inside, as if a light was shining in it, or the room was very bright like a public pool. So the public pool tells us that you're going to work in the spiritual field if you're not already, and that's good. But it's all illuminated. So if there's any fears about anything, then it's all fine. So the dream is saying, look, you're going to use your inner light. It's going to be about your own inner light to navigate these things, and don't be afraid. On the side, I am shaving my legs. I have the foam and a small shaver, and I am shaving my right leg. It has more than usual amount of hair in it. The same colour as always, just a little thicker. Fair blonde, but it's been a while, and I'm being careful not to cut myself while feeling satisfied that I'm getting most of the hair off. I do leave some behind because, for some reason, it's not perfect. So all these emphases on something being not perfect, that gives us a clue as to what's causing you to hold back. You're overthinking a situation. Hair represents thoughts. So hair here and hair being shaved off is saying you're overthinking. You're being too male when it comes to this. So you're being asked to just get into it. And I'm looking to see, is there any point in saying the rest of this dream? Okay, I will. It says, a woman comes by. My husband is still nearby as well. Okay, so your husband's going to support you here, and that's great. And says, we need to go soon or board soon. We're going on a trip, a small plane or an exclusive plane, not a normal trip anyway. I don't see the plane, just a feeling. And the weird thing is we're going to Liechtenstein. And you said, note, I had a past life there as a queen. I am faintly aware of this, I think, in the dream. But I keep saying Liechtenstein to myself in my mind, like it is fascinating. Most people go to the Bahamas and we're going to Liechtenstein. So if past life were your queen, so this says it's also about spiritual leadership. But the whole thing is, don't be over careful. You're being asked to dive into this, jump in, just do it, and take stock afterwards. So look at your husband. What way would he do things? Would he just smile at you and dive in? Because that's the sense the dream is saying, because you're saying he's already in the water. And you keep trying to interrupt me, Susan.
Well, I had some other thoughts about this dream too.
Yeah.
That my sense was like you said, she was holding herself back, but that one of the things that might be helpful is thinking about all those. You talk about all the creatures and all the people. Everybody's swimming around in this pool together, and that sense that it's okay if you have a different opinion or if you have different needs or wants or whatever it is. You don't need to hold back in expressing that, because all of you can coexist peacefully together in the pool.
Very good, yes, I'd agree. And I'm just realising there is more in this that might be relevant. And I'm skipping some. She says, I asked the lady how much time do we have, and she says 90 minutes. Well, that's good. But 90 minutes is telling you, and her telling you, the plane's going to leave, says, look, this is something you need to do. You're being pushed. So you're being pushed. You can probably channel. You're being pushed. And the 90 minutes is a real kick in the butt. It's saying, you've got to do this. You then say that there's a small suitcase and it's open, and it being small is good. So it's saying, okay, there's baggage that's causing you to hold yourself back, but it's not big. And it being open is very, very good. And you say there's a package of balloons underneath. That's good, all very good. Multicolored balloons in a plastic bag. So the plastic bag is saying it's a man-made thing that's holding you back from your goals. The balloons are going to represent your goals, but you have to inflate them yourself. So set your goals and be playful about it. And then the last part, very important. I stand up around the pool with my somewhat shaven but still some fine hair, and it's like I am naked, not sure, preparing to jump in or dive. So being naked in a dream is saying, okay, be yourself with regard to this. So you don't have to change anything. So this is probably part of the overthinking, thinking you're not perfect, thinking the timing isn't right, because there's a big emphasis on time here. So it's saying be yourself, don't dress anything up, just be yourself and dive into this and do it the way you would do it without changing yourself in order to do it. And there's way, way more of that dream. We're definitely going to stop there. Somebody take the page away. Okay, so we have a question from Liz, and she says, let's see here. I hope you're well. Just needed some advice regarding security. A stranger, and I have lots crossed out here, put lots of horrible comments on my YouTube videos and sent offensive emails attached to some of it, and indeed they are offensive, very threatening. I reported as attacks to YouTube. Is there anything else I could do, or is there anything I should be worried about? I searched his various names and email addresses and found he's a musician in Philadelphia, also on the East Coast. Sounds very disturbed. So, Heidi. Well, first of all...
Did she block him?
Yeah, she
okay,
did.
Good.
And one thing you can do on YouTube is make the comments to where they're moderated, so you have to approve them before they appear. And because of this question, I was talking to Susan before the show and saying that Facebook seems to be the only place that's got the commenting correct, because everybody knows everybody. People are very respectful. And if they critique things, there's no problem with that. But on Google and YouTube and a lot of places where people can comment, they just rant as if they've complete immunity and nothing's going to happen to them for anything horrible that they say.
Because there's not. I've seen people being reprimanded on Facebook, like losing their jobs and everything for nasty comments.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Facebook have got it right, but people, I don't know what it is. I see it on YouTube and everything. The rants and the horrendous.
Well, this person sent in a dream as well. So and here's the point: if you feel like you're fighting a battle, or taking on a crusade, as this person does, then you will find yourself in a crusade and fighting battles that you don't have to fight, because what you're thinking about attracts that into your life. So it's really important. And then we see it in your dreams. So I'm going to read out a dream that came. So that one comment was October 30th, and this dream was January 26th. And we can see how the person's still the same. And she calls it the second coming repeats itself. I'm a male apostle in a light sandy coloured robe with colourful trim. I'm with the rest of the apostles, and they're also wearing light sandy coloured robes with colourful trims. Very good. We're a crowd of apostles standing on sand. Maybe it's a desert or a beach. We're throwing ourselves in front of Jesus, trying to protect him from some kind of attack, but we're being killed. I'm upset and thinking, it's not working. We're all dying again, and Jesus is going to die too. There are only 3 apostles left standing when I feel a powerful vibration overtake my body and I die feeling very frustrated. And then it finishes very positively saying, a golden fetus in a golden womb appears floating in the air. It looks very solid but is floating. I wake up thinking, this can't be good. So the first part of the dream is showing that you're obviously very religious. You come at things from a religious perspective. Nothing, that's okay. The dream isn't a comment on that. But the feeling that there are people here on the planet to persecute your views and you need to defend, I'm going to say guides instead of Jesus, that you need to defend a message, then that's going to attract that into you. You're going to find you are actually living that life. Whereas in Canada and America, you are going to find more people in alignment with messages of religion than aren't in alignment. So you aren't in the persecuted group. So you can drop the whole idea that you are being persecuted. Not that you don't come across things, and we have another dream, but not that you don't come across things, but just in order to make it less and less often that you do end up having to fight things. Is there any points anybody wants to make on that? Have I glossed over too much? I'm looking at the time and realise we've got past a break. But
just in a past life, she was very much persecuted, and so this is part of what she's trying to shed.
She was
and I think she is aware
killed
of that.
for her beliefs in a past life.
Yeah, and so this is just it's like a nagging thing that she's still trying to shed, and so she's going to come up against this until she's able to fully let go. It's like, a toddler with a butter knife type of an attack on her. It means nothing, but it's just kind of nagging at her to, you can still let go of this. Let's let go of this in this lifetime, because it is possible.
All right. Well, let's have a look at the one last dream, and then we'll take the break because it's related. So in this one, she says it's called 2 Wild Boars Insert Themselves into 2 Powerful Horses. Quite a title. There are 6 gorgeous animals with long, silky brown fur or hair. 2 are huge and beautiful wild boars with gorgeous, sleek brown fur or hair. 2 are very tall, powerful-looking horses with the same long, silky brown hair. The 2 boars suddenly leap into the mouths of the 2 horses, as if the horses are hollow because the boars slide right inside. It's a tight fit. The boars fill the bellies of the 2 horses and begin gnawing away at the insides of each horse, starting at the tail end. It's such a tight fit they can't turn around inside the horses. I wake up horrified, thinking they'll eat the horses alive from the inside out. And when I got this dream, I phoned her and asked her, had she been attacked recently, actually physically attacked? And she said, yeah, she was doing an exhibition, and there were some people there that weren't very polite. Normally you don't encounter anything like that at exhibitions. And people often wonder, why is there a charge into exhibitions? And it's quite often to get people like this, keep them out. People who have no interest, but they have nothing to do on an afternoon and go to these things. But anyway, so what this dream is saying is, if you've swallowed the pig-headed insults from others while channeling or healing. So the 2 is all references to channeling, and then the horses, the tall, powerful horses, are references to healing, if ever I saw. And they're really, really a good symbol. So you're really a very strong healer. But literally what this is showing is that this is eating away at you and it'll pass. And people and another note I have, people in this field are usually very sensitive. You need to be in order to tune into the subtle energies of your guides. But this sensitivity can sometimes make you feel vulnerable. But which would you rather be, open and sensitive or pig-headed and closed? You already know the answer. In your dream, these people come in at the tail end, probably of your lecture or something else or something similar, and jump down your throat. But don't worry about this. Look where they are in the dream. It'll soon pass out the tail end along with the rest of So we're going to take a break now, and we'll be back with you in a moment. Hi, I'm Michael Sheridan, and I'm here to tell you about my new book. In 1990, I had a spontaneous awakening, and the veil between the physical world and the spirit world was lifted for me. I didn't believe in the spirit world, but that no longer mattered. I was looking at it. My new sight didn't give me answers, but it opened my mind enough to begin asking questions. It would ultimately lead me to discover that the spirit world is always involved in everything we do. My book reveals what I learned about the spirit world as I stumbled through my journey, and is titled My Journey to Awakening, and is now available on Amazon for Kindle and in paperback. My Journey to Awakening by Michael Sheridan.
Have you ever heard the advice to follow your heart, but you aren't sure how to actually do that? I'm Susan Pullen with True Radiance Healing Arts. Your heart is like an inner compass, pointing you in the direction your soul wants you to take. Join me for the art and practice of following your heart, a weekend workshop on how to tune into the guidance of your heart. February 20th and 21st. Find out more at true-radiance.com.
Hello, this is Heidi. How can I help you?
You tell me. You're the psychic.
That's not how it works. I am a medium. I connect to your spirit guides and loved ones and pass on their messages to you.
So why did I call? Use the force, Heidi.
Look, I can get answers to any questions you ask. That's not a problem. They can be about anything: relationships, career, children, finances, anything.
Anything? Okay. What's my favorite color?
Dave, your mom says you're being childish.
For readings with Heidi, go to angelsontheline.com.
Have you considered adding a chanting component to your spiritual practice, but you're not quite sure what to sing? Or when you start singing, sometimes your throat starts hurting? I would love to help. Please join me, Nadia Tarnowski, for an open chanting class that will begin on Thursday, February 11th at 7:30 p.m. Classes will meet every other Thursday. Please come whenever you feel called. Go to www.sacredcompassion.com for more information. All are welcome.
Time for something different. Time for Alternative Talk 1150.
Welcome back to So You Think You're Awake with Michael Sheridan, Heidi Brooke and Susan Pullen. Our show is about dreams, guidance and healing, and our phone number is 425-373-5527. If you have a dream-related question, or you want to connect with your guides for advice, or you can call us with questions for Susan about healing and changing old life patterns. Once again, the number is 425-373-5527. Somebody heard because they're ringing now. So Susan, we want to talk about the course you ran last weekend. First of all, what was the course about, and what were your questions? What were you thinking about before you asked for dreams? Because you told me you asked for dreams to give guidance on this, and then maybe we'll get into your dreams.
Yeah. So the circle that we had last weekend was about. It was a healing circle. So it was meant to be a space where people could come and share very deeply about things that were going on for them. I think a lot of our wounds are relational. They happen with other people, and so I think there's something very powerful about being able to speak about what's going on for us, really in our heart, really speak from our heart about what's going on, and have that be witnessed and seen and heard and held in a very compassionate space.
It relieves pressure to be able to express it in a group.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think it does, but it's huge.
Yeah. And I think even for the people who don't say very much in the group, there's a thread of so many people's story, what other people share, that resonates for you. It's almost like you said it yourself. And I think just seeing how that person is still accepted and held by the group, I think it's very healing for us, even when we're not to the point where we can say it out loud, just to see that other people can be accepted and still loved in that same experience.
Right. So it's a group about. So it's kind of like a sacred space where people can share very openly and confidently.
Yes.
In confidence.
Yeah, absolutely, confidentially, yeah. And so that was the space that we really wanted to set up, and so I asked for a dream.
So the issue always is with those, what if nobody shares?
Right, exactly. That's, so what do we need to do to set up the space, to make the space really conducive, to allow people to feel safe enough to go there, to go deep. Yeah. So I asked for a dream with guidance on that. And I had two dreams. The first one was more of a vision of everything, people and things, everything were cracking open, and light was coming through from the inside of things out. And the message that I understood with that was that healing isn't about fixing our cracks, our wounds, our flaws. It's not about, trying to put it back together like it never happened. It's about letting the light come through it, so that it almost felt like cauterizing or something. It was like there was a sort of purifying that happened when the light came through, but it also it allows us to like connect with our true self, I think, when we're able to let the light come through. And that was partly what the sharing was about.
Yeah, and it's very true. We see it all the time with the dreams and with people in readings, that it's the difficulties in your life that help you grow.
Yeah.
The relaxing holiday just recharges your batteries.
Yeah. And likewise, going to a dinner party and talking about, what diet these celebrities are on or whatever, it can be fun and all, but it's not like deeply nourishing. And that's what that was really my intention, was that this group be deeply nourishing. So the second dream I had was more about the space. And I was told in the dream to put curtains up over the windows and the doorway to make a really tight container, to make a really safe, sacred space, and a safe container for people to go deep. And in the dream, we were in a circle, but the circle was kind of, sloppy, lopsided, and people were really opening up, but they were sort of in small groups and not.
This was in the dream?
In the dream, yeah. And there wasn't a lot of cohesion, and then I realized if I could get everyone to sing, then that would like bring everyone back together. And then I looked up in the sky, because this building had no roof or ceiling or anything, and up in the sky there were three giant horses running through the sky, and the horses turned into giant dogs. And then the three giant dogs became one dog and dropped down like next to me. Huge, like a big St. Bernard kind of dropped down next to me. And so, Michael, you and I talked about this dream.
Yes, we teased them around.
Yeah, because I didn't want to miss anything. So
I loved the horses symbol. That was really good. And I loved the circle not being perfect.
Yeah.
Because that was really, to me, that was a huge clue. That was saying an element of disharmony in the circle. Something's off, and it's going to bother people that it's off, but that will create a resonance that will make people think about what's off within them. It's not, even though it's subconscious, it'll rattle that and make it come to the surface.
Yeah. And
then you talked afterwards about what happened that created that disharmony.
Yeah. So and right off we had. I had put a, set up sort of like a little altar in the middle of the room, and there was a candle there. But the smell of it was kind of getting to one of the people. So I took that away, but people commented about how, it felt kind of off to them that there was nothing in the center now. There was nothing in this. There's sort of a big wood bowl in the center. There was nothing in it, and I thought, "Oh, this is perfect."
If you hadn't had the dream, would you have been rattled by that yourself, going, "Okay, this is wrong," as opposed to, "Oh, this is perfect. We have the disharmony."
I think I knew that it would kind of get filled with our intentions, the group's intentions, and that kind of thing. That we would fill it with spirit, But it was. I took it as an encouraging sign. Yeah.
Which is really good. Something going wrong and you go, yes.
Yeah.
Power of dreams.
Yep.
And what I really like too is the horses symbol, because especially where they're up in the sky. So horses, and we say it all the time on the show, represent spiritual healing. But here they are up in the air, or up at the level spirit would be represented by in a dream. So it's saying that if all the things are going on, in the space that you've created, the disharmony is there, but healing is happening on the spirit plane because of what you've set up, which is really, really a powerful message to receive.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
it reminds you, I mean, you already know it, but it reminds you that it's not just our physical bodies involved in these things, and that there are guides and your guides and everything else are going on. But then that's your forte, that's your field, holding those spaces and feeling the energy in the room. And like you talk about bringing it back, bringing the circle back. And I'm like scratching my head going, what? Where did they go?
Just the cohesion of the circle, because again, like in order to make that container where people feel really safe to share very deeply, we sort of end up kind of weaving our energy together in a way, and then at the end of the circle we have to unweave that and send people home with themselves. But that's part of the creating that really compassionate space for people to open up into.
And do you do healing on people in those groups, or is it a completely different type of thing?
Because I don't have their permission ahead of time, I don't actively do anything with people individually. Sometimes there were a couple of moments that I tuned into people just to make sure that
okay.
where we were going was okay, and it was amazing, like the energy just streaming off of them, like the stuff just getting released. It was incredible. But I don't get involved aside from managing the space and the energy of the space.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a situation like that, unless I were going to ask their permission. Yeah.
So how do you get people to open up? What do you start with? Do you say, okay, everybody's here. Have you had your coffee? Okay, you're first. Go.
I think that, oddly enough, creating a little bit of discomfort is helpful. I shared the dream that I had with the cracks.
All right.
And that was part of kind of the setup for the conversation. But
I always find it funny. You do lots of different courses.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done the same course for 25 years. So, I mean, it's changed over time, but it's essentially the same course. Whereas every time I talk to you and you're planning another course, it's different.
I know.
My God, Susan. But
I know.
They're just so different, though, from what I do that I guess I just can't wrap my head around it. But I find it interesting. You're told you can be planning and running 3 different courses at the same time, and that's okay. But you have a repertoire of
3.
more.
Yeah. And I just, I get inspired. I mean, like.
And you get the clients.
I get an inspiration. This is the class you're going to teach. And I say, okay, this is the class I'm going to teach. I hope you're going to tell me how. But it always...
It always comes together.
It does. It comes together.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And did you want to say any more about that? But you have another course actually on the 20th and 21st.
Yeah, I've got the...
and of course it's going to be different.
It's going to be different. Yeah.
Because it can be.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I've got 2 actually coming up. The art and practice of following your heart, which is about heart opening, connecting with your heart, and using your heart as a compass for guidance, connecting
really
with that
good.
the intuition of the heart. Yeah, I know lots of times dreams talk about getting more into your heart, and
I feel like doing that one myself.
That's what we're going to do. Yeah.
Would I get a discounted price for it?
Yeah, of course.
Actually, I had a dream just recently that told me you have to work more with your heart. More with your heart. So this piques my interest too.
Yeah. There's still room.
Good.
And then I have a women's circle starting also in a couple of weeks. That's going to be Tuesday evenings. It's 12 Tuesday evenings, and it's all spiritual development and personal development. So we're going to be doing some shamanic work, doing a lot of dream work and intuition, and just kind of playing together.
Nice.
In that realm. So I'm very excited about that too.
Yeah, obviously I'm excluded. Did you hear that, Heidi? Women's group. We've kept April on the line for some time. So we'll say hello to April in Ohio. How are you? And you have a dream question for Heidi.
No.
Good.
Thanks for
She
waiting.
loves that, right?
So you have a dream, do you?
I did. I had a dream last night about taking my daughter to school. I think that's the theme today.
It is.
So I thought I could call in with it. Last night I dreamt that my daughter was late for school, and I was stressing out about it was like the first day of school for the new school year. So I was stressing about getting her there, and I realized I was in the living room with my partner, and I realized that a door led right into the principal's office, so I wouldn't have to get her on the bus or drive her. We could just go straight to the principal's office and tell them that we were late and find out all the information that we needed. So I was really relieved by that. I took her straight into the principal's office, and we were instructed to sit at a table, and it was a round table, and this little girl came up to us, and she had this, she was making me answer questions about Halloween, like it was some kind of a game, and eventually I was so stressed out that my daughter didn't know what class to go to. They were already doing the announcements, and so I got up and I walked around to a desk, and the woman there was talking about her name in the past, like a past life or something, and I knew that my name was Longfellow, but I couldn't say it because there was something square in my mouth. So I took this square piece of something out of my mouth, and I said my name, that it used to be Longfellow, and then I went over to the actual principal's desk, and I was trying to tell her, I need to know where my daughter's teacher's classroom is. I have to get her to the classroom. But I was having a really difficult time getting the words out. Like, I was really frustrated because I couldn't communicate well. And I felt like I knew that feeling, but not really. And the feeling was familiar, but the actual not being able to, like, form the words well is not familiar.
Okay. And how does it relate to what's going on in your life? Is there something that you're thinking of doing, but you don't know what you need to do to get started on it?
Sort of. I am trying to become aware of when I'm frustrated during the day, just being a mother and a partner, and trying to, my focus is not letting that frustration change my behavior and sort of turn it into an act of love where I'm accepting it and I'm enjoying things instead of becoming stressed out by them. Okay,
very good. Well, that relates then, because it matches what's happening in the dream, but then it also matches the frustration that comes up in the dream. And quite often that's what dreams are about. They're there to create a theme like that, is there to create the feeling and to show you where it comes from. So this feeling of frustration comes from way back in your life, because you're bringing your daughter to her first day of school. So what went on for you when you went to your first day of school? And there's a frustration you picked up there, and that's where you need to look. And that's not easy to do unless you can remember your first. Oh, wait, we start school much later. You start school at 6 or 7 here. 5? Okay, all right. I know nothing. 7.
Some people don't start till they're 6 or 7 nowadays. It's changing.
When I lived in Alaska, people started at 6 and 7. That's why I thought it was that. So when did you start school, April?
Well, I felt like, I can't remember. I was pretty young. I felt like in the dream she was starting 2nd grade.
Yeah, I think in your case, it's not your very first day of school. It's when school changed. Something changed in school. And so it's a later time. So what would be your frustration, or what can you remember about that, if you can indeed? Hopefully you can. And it's really great when you know what it is, because even just knowing about it, you can then get healing in another dream for it. But what we can tell from the dream is, first of all, the round table, that's really good. So that's saying don't take a position. Don't limit yourself. So a round table is like, think of King Arthur and the round table. It's like there's no head at the table. So it's that sort of thing. Be flexible, be open, have your heart open. It's all, it's all everybody's goals together, if you know what I mean. And the fact that you don't have to take the school bus, you go straight to the principal's office. So this is saying that you've got a strong connection with your guides, and you can work this out. You can talk to your guides directly with this. But it also shows that you've got quite a strong level, spiritual leadership. There was something else in the dream that made me want to say spiritual leadership. I don't know if it's just the principle, but I'm trying to think. There was a piece in the dream. There was another piece where you're talking and you had to take something square out of your mouth. Oh yeah, Longfellow. That's what it was. Is Longfellow your name in this life? Was it ever your name?
No.
Okay, so
No.
Longfellow as a name in a dream represents spiritual leadership. When you see long-barreled names like that, that's what it stands for. So it says you've got spiritual teaching capabilities, but like in the dream, the frustration probably is, how am I going to use this? Where do I need to go? What am I going to do? And this is common for a lot of people. So what you need to do is realize you need to relax, listen to your heart, and don't compartmentalize, which is what a lot of the time we want to do. By compartmentalize, I mean, don't limit yourself and say, I'm going to work in this particular area and this particular way. It isn't time yet for you to restrict yourself. It never is time to restrict, but so you're still at the point where you're open. And just like in the dream, where you're not actually brought to a classroom and said, here's where you're starting, it's saying, okay, you've got to prepare, but you don't need to start yet. So it's all about relax, relax, relax. And that's probably because of what's going on for you and the frustrations that are going on for you. So working through these is going to really help you open your heart, which is really, really positive. So the big round table at the start is a fantastic symbol at that dream, because that's where you're brought to. And is there anything else I'm skipping? I don't think I'm skipping anything. Anybody, any comments on that?
Halloween, you didn't mention the Halloween.
Okay, what was the Halloween thing? Playing games or?
When I was at the round table, this little girl came up, and it seemed like she was a distraction. I was waiting to find out the information, but she just brought up, it was like a card. It almost looked like a postcard. It wasn't a postcard, but it just had questions on it, and it was Halloween themed.
Okay. Halloween themed, like, can you explain it? I can't imagine Halloween. The colours, I'm going to go with the colours. The colours are black and orange. So this is a career dream. So it's saying that either you're looking at this and saying, okay, I want to make my career out of doing this, or that's what you're being told. But it's definitely the black and orange together always symbolize career. It's because orange is ambition and black is fear. And regardless of whatever else anybody would ever say, we only have careers because we feel we need to. We're pushed into the light. No matter, you drill it down, it's always going to, is it a career or a vocation? So a vocation is a completely different thing. You're not looking at how you're making your money. You're looking at what you need to do in life, and your money comes as a secondary thing from that. So it's got a mix of everything. So it's saying this is really important for you. It's going to help you open your heart, and it's going to ultimately help you with your career. But you don't have the answers to your questions yet. But that's okay. It's absolutely okay at this stage. You already know what you're working on, eliminating the frustrations.
Okay.
Anything else? You don't sound too enthused, April.
I really want to know what it's all leading towards, but
then you wouldn't be frustrated, and you wouldn't be able to work through that. So when you get to the point where there's no frustration and you're happy to sit down and say, yeah, we're all in this together. You, your guides, your partner, your daughters, we're all in this together. I'm just going to be happy, and when it's time, we'll start.
So the fact that no one wanted to tell me what classroom my daughter needed to be in, they all just seemed kind of nonchalantly just letting me.
They want you to be nonchalant. They want you to be relaxed and work through this frustration. So they're deliberately giving you in the dream the feeling that you asked for insight on in reality. So, of course, they're not going to say, here's what you need to do, because the whole, it's all the give a man a fish or teach him how to fish. It's that sort of thing. You've got to figure out how to eliminate your own frustrations, rather than somebody come along and take away the source. You've got to be able to live in that space and not be frustrated. So that's your lesson. You're already being schooled. All right. Thanks for the call, April. That was great.
Thank you so much for the help. I appreciate it.
All right. So we have Rusty in Seattle. We're going to say hello to Rusty.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
First of all, I enjoy your show. Thank you very much, Michael.
Thanks. So do you have a dream, I believe?
Yes, I did, and I wrote it down this morning so I wouldn't forget it, because it kind of woke me up. It started out, I was on a party. I was on a yacht in a party, and I was just staring at the sky, and time lapse goes by and people go away, and I end up falling asleep. I sleep in the dream. I wake right back up, and I'm still staring at the stars, but I notice there's water coming up my legs. And I look to my right, and my wife is in a sleeping bag beside me. There's two of us. We're the only ones on the yacht. but the yacht is tilting as waves are coming up, and I see that we're in rough waters, and it looks like there's going to be a really big wave coming at us. So I get up and I run into the cabin, and I'm about to hit the start switch on the engine, and I have a moment of hesitancy because I'm afraid if I hit that, it might electrocute me because there's water in the boat.
Yeah.
But then I think, well, if I don't, then we're going to sink, so I might as well. So I hit it real quick. The the lights come on, so I start hitting every switch I can see, and the boat just takes off. I'm thrown back in the cabin, and when I get back up, suddenly we're in the parking lot of a 7-Eleven. And it comes to a screeching halt, and I look behind me, and there's no water in sight. I see a cop that is getting gas, and he doesn't even notice us, so I'm relieved to find out that I'm not in trouble for speeding into the parking lot. I just turn the boat around, and I pull up to a gas station, and I fill it up, and then I wake up.
Okay, excellent. I like how the dream ended. So there's always several themes to a dream. So looking at the stars is going to be about goals. It's about you setting goals and pursuing your goals, but you fall asleep in this dream. So it's saying that you're not pursuing your goals. So you have goals that you've thought about, but I don't even know if it's that you've long fingered them, but you just haven't gone after them. And they're to do with your female side. Your wife represents your female side here in the dream. And her being asleep is saying that you need to wake that side of you up. So you need to get into your heart. There's other symbols for the heart in the same dream. We have the engine on the boat. That's also a symbol for the heart. And the gas, pumping gas at a pump is also about the heart. The only pump in your body is the heart. So it's definitely saying that. The goals could be to do with relationship. There could be relationship stuff in there too, but we won't get into that. You can talk to me after the show if you want. But so what you need to look at is what causes, because you have hesitancy in the dream of hitting this start switch. So what is it? What goal have you got in mind that you just have never gone in there and said, you know what, I'm just going for this? And can you picture what it is? Do you know what it is?
Yes, I do.
All right. So what's causing you to hold back? And maybe you can't say to us on the air, but what's causing you to hold back? Now, in the dream, you say you're afraid you're going to be electrocuted. Fair enough, in the dream, that is a fear, but you still do it. So, okay, so what the dream is saying, look, regardless of your fears, whatever your fears are, it doesn't matter, hit that start switch because it's just going to work. It's going to take you. So things aren't great. There are things that are rocky now, and that, again, could be relationship or it could be other things in life because the water can represent just life in general and emotion. So emotional, not turmoil, but, life not always throwing everything at you that's pleasant. So, but it can be about any area of life. But it's saying, look, if you do this, it's going to take you out of all that type of water, and you're going to find yourself. 7-Eleven is saying this is a good thing for you. It's a good spiritual thing because of the word number 7 in the dream, and it's just going to be good. There's no bad outcome of this. And if you think it's going to be whatever you think it is, that could go wrong. Even the cop at the end of the dream, where you say, "Oh, it's great. I realize I'm not in trouble here," and then you start pumping gas into the yacht, into the boat, which is really good too. So the end of the dream is really, really fantastic. If I was thinking about doing something and I had that dream, I would just do it because, especially the way the boat just took off. So despite your fears, if you're thinking it's not going to take off, the dream is just saying, look, absolutely it is. It absolutely is. And it's a huge encouraging dream.
Thank you. When I had the dream, I wrote it down immediately and knew I was going to save it so I could share it with you so that you can give me the insight. So I appreciate that.
All right. Well, thanks for the call. I wish you could tell us what it was. The next big thing. You'll be on, do you call it the Dragon's Den over here? No. Shark Tank. You'll be on Shark Tank. All right. Thanks, Risty. So we have, see if we can squeeze this in real fast. We have Cheryl in Kirkland. Hello, Cheryl.
Hi there.
And
this is going to sound a little crazy, but the other night I had a dream that I think I was in some foreign country, but I'm walking down a very narrow street, and I look up, and here comes this raging bull with huge horns, like coming toward me. And I look around, and there was like nowhere to go, and I look behind me, and there's a tree with a tree house. So I kind of scurried up the tree, got in the tree house, and then this big maned lion jumps in the treehouse with me, followed by a camel. But they weren't vicious. The lion was just there, not trying to attack me or anything, and the bull runs by. And I see my husband coming, and I told him, honey, take a picture, because it was so amazing to be sitting so close to this beast. And he just said no and walked away. And then I woke up.
Okay, so we're really, really out of time. But what is going on in life right now that the bull could represent? So you're running away from the bull. So what's coming at you, horns pointed at you, etc., that you really feel you need to get out of the way of?
That's interesting. Probably a lot of things right now.
Okay, so what it points to, though, is that all these things coming at you they're causing you to, well, there's a few things. They're causing problems with your elimination system, but that's not really big in the dream. But that's okay, so deal with this, that'll disappear. The line says that you have a spiritual leadership ability. Do you use that? Do you help people? Do you work with people?
I used to, but a year and a half ago I broke my hip, so I've been unemployed for a while. Okay,
and what used you do?
It was managerial customer service type.
Okay, and then the camel, that's an interesting symbol. We don't get that much. I might pick this one up and give a lot more detail in an email after the show, because I'm looking at the time and we have 30 seconds and there's no way we can cover it. Is that okay? Because we're out of time, Cheryl.
All right.
And I want you to hear the analysis.
I enjoy your program.
Okay, thanks a lot. So that is it. We're out of time. Thanks to our producer and engineer, Eric Ryder. Thanks to Susan and Heidi.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening, and especially for sending in your dreams. Remember, send them to radioshow@dream-analysis.com. And look us up on dream-analysis.com for archives of all previous shows and more. And until next week, we leave you with this quote. Be thankful for what you have. You'll end up having more. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you will never, ever have enough. And that's from Oprah Winfrey.